there's a sea otter. I saw an otter swimming and I was excited, but there's also a surfer, so I thought the surfer would probably scare it away. Instead, the sea otter swam right past him. They're really close to the surfers. That sea otter is just munching next to the surfer. The surfers are leaving them alone. That's beautiful to witness, both humans and animals coexisting with each other. These sea otters can tolerate the presence of humans only when they receive respect and distance from the surfers or swimmers. This surfer is swimming to catch some waves and admiring the otters. They're still wild, so it's important to let them be. It's floating around. As you can see, there are a lot of surfers here and the sea otters are going around or under them. In the world there are different species of otters that live in rivers or the ocean. This is a sea otter. They live in the Pacific Ocean. See these black blotches? That is a kelp forest. Sea otters would swim through and dive down near the kelps. They will use their sensing to hunt for any potential prey. They can swim up to around 5 miles per hour and will check everywhere. They eat sea urchins, mussels, clams, scallops, large crabs, slow-moving fish, sea stars, and octopus. Sea urchins are one of the hardest creatures to eat because of their sharp spines. Many animals choose to ignore them despite them being delicious inside. Sea otters know this and they will actively hunt for them using its mouth. Alternatively, they can avoid sea urchin's spines by seeking something out. Rocks. They would pick the urchin up and use a rock to crack the sea urchin and eat it. They will bring their catch up to the surface where they would lay on their backs and use rocks to break their food apart on their belly. What is that? It is usually a sea urchin or sometimes a clam. Clams are tough to break, but biting, so using the rock is easier. They use tools. Wow, they're capable of using tools like humans. Too many sea urchins are a big problem. Sea otters eating them are good because sea urchins can threaten and kill kelp forests since they consume and reproduce fast. That's a problem. Sea otters are incredible because they balance urchin populations by eating them and keeping them stable. With sea urchins being stable, kelps and plants wouldn't be in danger of disappearing. Sea otters are keeping kelp forests alive and are one of the top predators in kelp forests. They are dependent upon kelp forests as well. Their fur is very thick. It's actually the #1 most dense animal fur. Sea otter fur beats every mammal fur in the whole world. They have 2 layers of hair to keep them warm and of around 1 million per square inch. That is plenty of hairs to keep them warm in cold ocean temperatures. Seals can handle the coldness because they have thick layer of blubber to help them tolerate it and keep them warm. It's the same with dolphins and whales. Despite being a marine mammal, sea otters rely on their fur, and hairs aren't necessarily long but are very thick and dense. Other than their ability to use tools, their special fur, being able to stay warm in cold temperatures, is one of their superpowers. Their high metabolism also helps fire up their internal body temperature, keeping them warm in the ocean. Now, if their fur was excluded, that's it. They would die. They can't survive. Without any protection, they will have to get out of the water. They can't hunt out of the water. That's interesting. Their fur is so important and they can't survive without it. You know, sometimes the ocean gets some oil spills which are bad to any animals like fish, birds, crabs, etc. Now, the sea otters are especially sensitive to oil spills because the oil can ruin their fur and wouldn't dissolve. They would then get cold due to the oil ruining the fur's protection. Sea otters would also get sick if they ingest the oil. When they are done with eating, they would get tired, then they would sleep and float on their back. Sometimes they would hold their mates' paws. The water may push them around, but they would stay together. They also would wrap themselves in kelp. Sea lions and other animals can sleep in the water shortly, but most animals prefer sleeping on land. They can get warmth from the sun and get a break from being in the water while staying safe from their marine predators. Sea otters. They stay in the water. Sometimes they can be found very far in the ocean where you would need a boat to see them. Saying of which, there's a seal near the sleeping couple. It probably just woke up too from its nap. There's another one. As you can see, sea otters will coexist with other animals. They will need to watch out for predators such as stellar sea lions, killer whales and sharks. Sharks may attack sea otters by mistaking them for seals. Shark bites are usually lethal to the otter. They know what to do. They can wake up and escape. They have good hearing, but they don't swim fast. They may freeze and pretend to be dead. Or they may flee for it. Sea otters can hold their breath and dive deep. Swimming straight down can take them as deep as around 300 feet deep. Wow, that's deep, and they have to come up to breathe. Respect, they're adept. If there are tons of sea urchins down there, for example, they will capture many of them. It doesn't matter if they are 300 feet deep. Where there are food, they will stay around. They can sleep and eat there. There's no reason for them to leave. Once they see food in an area, they would stay in huts. They also need to eat quickly. They can't spend a lot of time not eating. They have to eat a lot to help keep themselves warm, so they will dive. And dive again. And again. So if you see sea otters staying in an area, sleeping, and swimming, that's a good sign for the environment. It means there are plenty of creatures and a lot of life. Multiple healthy sea otters are a good indicator of a healthy environment. Oh, they seem happy. They're thriving here. They're marine mammals for sure, but they seals are in the seal family. They are members of an entire different group called the mustelids or the weasel family. Weasels, wolverines, badgers, martens, and otters are mustelids. Sea otters can grow up to around 4 feet long, making them the largest mustelids. They are also the only fully marine mustelids. They are typically playful towards other sea otters. Even though they're playful, that doesn't mean you can touch them. The surfers were admiring them and moving on, which is perfect. No one came to the animals. People let them pass by. The otters would be able to do their own thing and leave them alone. Surfing around marine mammals is risky, but as long as they are being responsible and no animals were threatened, it's fine. Unfortunately, sea otters are endangered and are very vulnerable to different things like diseases, warmer water conditions, and poaching. They're protected by law, so never touch or disturb sea otters into the marine mammals. Sea otters are social and can be found in rafts, which are groups of sea otters. See how the sea otter is following the other two. Although it's rare, they can attack humans if they feel threatened or trying to protect themselves. Please donate to good sea otter organizations to help the sea otters. Remember to admire sea otters and give them their space. I spotted many sea otters today. They were playing with each other, eating their prey, getting their daily buffet, and surfing with surfers. Well, it's more of swimming with surfers, haha. We even found a sleeping pair. Until next time, embrace your animal mode.